All right, I think we're live. I think we're live. Okay. This is the first time I've actually managed to run a live stream using YouTube's new streaming studio, which isn't very good, but at least it's working. So, hello and welcome back. It is me, nu.sensei. It is December 31st. It is Tuesday. It is 1 a.m. at the moment. Now, as I was cleaning up things to do for the year, like scripting about 10 other videos we're supposed to film today, it occurred to me that I may have a few loose ends, and those loose ends include, um, well, a bunch of form checks, which I didn't get around to doing. So, I know a few of you have provided form checks over the past few months. I'm not sure whether I've covered them, no one sent any, or I've just forgotten or deleted them. I don't know, but I've got about four ready to go. And I thought I might also finish the year by cleaning out the last of the form checks. And this is particularly because you had one person, super honest, she's a regular viewer, sent in a form check. And I thought, you know what, I probably should do that. So, what's new? What's updated? Well, my camera's really fuzzy. Hang on, let me wipe that for a bit. Probably doesn't help there. Didn't help at all. It's probably, let's leave it this way. Okay, looks good enough for me. Okay. So yeah, it is 1 a.m. So it should be prime time for you elsewhere. I think in Europe and America, you should be pretty good. So this, for those who don't normally check in, is there no sound right now? You really? Can we check it? You can hear me, right? Just double checking here. If I'm making like noises and you can hear something, please let me know because the bars on my screen. Okay, there is sound. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Jono. You can't escape me there. Um, okay. So where was I? So what I had planned to do before this was I was going to actually do a recap of my Basically course experience. So I've got my book of notes behind me, and it's actually quite a comprehensive video. But I'll try and do it today, I guess, before the new year. I had a few other things planned out, but it's been a really warm few days. So I haven't really done much. Plus, it's like holidays, and every now and then I want a bit of time off and do stuff. So, um, I'm gonna do it a bit later, but what I thought I'd do is clean out all the remaining form checks. So again, for those who don't know, there I do these form check videos somewhat irregularly. I mean, I kind of do it like once a month, but it depends on how people send in videos. But if you want to get some commentary on your form, and bear in mind, I'm not the world's best coach. I'm a coach. I'm a local level coach. But if you want another set of eyes to look at your shooting form, whether it's modern or traditional, then I'm quite happy to help out. These new form checks may be a little more serious now, just because I've been given the insight, knowledge, and tools by Coach Kasich Lee. I'm not going to dictate the KSL method to every single person, especially if you're not doing it. But part of what I want to do is to help explain the biomechanics and how the body works. So if you are thinking about improving your technique or adopting KSL or the best method, then I can provide some insight. So that's something I'll be looking at, or the lens I'm looking through moving forward. I'll be, of course, respectful of your own coaching styles, but I'm pretty much sold on the KSL method. It's worked out well for me. I spent the last few days doing form check videos, and it's been absolutely amazing. So just before we start, I've got a couple of questions in chat right now. So I've got a few windows open. I think I have the whole thing functioning right now. Hi there, everybody, by the way. I'm glad you can join us. Am I New Zealand? No, I'm nowhere near New Zealand. Actually, I'm across the Tasman, so we were there. So, Hunting Bow 79 has a question. Is it true in January there will be new regulations for baby division for World Archery? Yes. World Archery is going to implement an official bare bow division in outdoor and indoor archery. So, for those who don't know, previously World Archery has other divisions. There are There's compound and recurve, which refers to Olympic recurve and freestyle compound, and it's only used in target competition. Now, if you shoot field or 3D, there are other divisions. There is longbow, there's barebow, and in most countries there is a barebow division in target competitions, but there is no official rule set. So countries either adopt the wood archery ones from Field 3D or they make up their own. And there are also other barebow rule sets like IFAA, for example. But wood archery is officially moving on. It's officially moving on to having a barebow division. Now, so from what I understand, barebow will be shooting at 50 meters on the large face. So, Olympic recurve or just recurve shoots 70 meters on the 120 centimeter big face. Compound shoots 50 meters on the center of an 80 centimeter face. And from my understanding, barebow will be 50 meters on the big face. So, understandably, barebow it's not as consistent. They want to make barebow a bit more competitive at shorter distances. I've also heard rumors of them trying to differentiate other forms of archery. I think they want to bring indoor archery into the program, as in the official Olympic program. Part of the reason is that having diversity in the events is one of the draw cards of Olympic programs. So if you have any chance of seeing a compound, it may be through the indoor format. But barebow is there, and I think World Archery may try to push for barebow to be included in the Olympics. So yes, there is an official rule set for barebow going in. It's basically the same as what we've seen before. You can't have any long rod stabilizers or sights. You can have the plunger button. You can have a rest. You can have weights as long as they fit within the 120 centimeter ring when unstrung. But it's the same rule set, but it's going to be an official thing. And what that means is we'll likely see an increase in barebow events. They might be included as part of the official World Archery program. So the World Archery events like the World Cup, you might see barebow a lot more frequently. Hopefully they'll increase the number of people doing barebow. Barebow is a popular division, not as popular as compound and recurve, but you know, a lot of people love barebow, modern barebow specifically. Modern barebow is like the best balance between having the traditional, stick and string, but with the modern twist. We had the modern bow material, so that works as well. Okay, so that's that was the question for Hunting Bow 79. So yes, barebow will be rolled out as of next year, and I think I know Archery Australia has been implementing rounds to claim for people shooting barebow and prepare them for barebow events in the future. Let's see. Calerian, I've copied part of your shot process and it helped me with some results. Thank you. My shot process isn't good yet. Remember that I've only learned now that I've been formally taught KSL. So before that, I've read KSL, but I haven't learned KSL. Now that Coach Casey Glee has himself taught me how to do it, I have an understanding of it, so I'm accredited to discuss it and not really coach it, but I can discuss it. He didn't coach me, so that's a bit of a stretch to say he coached me and he taught me how to do it. No, he ran the seminar. He basically made me a test dummy, and I learned a lot about how to do it properly. I haven't done it properly yet, so it's kind of like a work in progress. The pieces are falling together, but they're working really well. Now, don't copy me exactly right now. I'm not the finished product. There are many things which I'm yet to do, but if you're following along and you're including a few things at a time you're finding makes a difference, then absolutely, I think it's a really good thing that you're finding that works for you. What's better than someone telling you this is better or not better is that you try it yourself. Every single person who I've discussed the KSL cycle with and has tried themselves has found immediate results. One of the mantras with KSL is less effort for greater result. So the old mindset, which was something I was trained in for most of my archery career, was the classical push-pull style, where you you basically power through the shot, and that's what I said before in the past, like power, 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 shoot through the pain, that sort of thing. And that's not really that's a classical mindset. A lot of people shoot well like that, but what KSL's tried to teach is that, well, it's not about power, power, power. It's actually about efficiency. So if you're trying the shot process, if you're preloading, if you're trying to use a setup position, then these things, even part of the processes, things like the hold position or loading before anchoring, these things can help tremendously. And even though I'm doing an incomplete version of it because I'm still working the process, it is much. I just found it's maybe a different archer. We might look at my videos a bit later as part of an extra form check, but over the past 3 weeks, I've gone from shooting in a very sloppy push-pull manner to shooting in a very efficient, incomplete, but still an efficient KSL cycle. So I think people have seen those videos. If you haven't, you might want to check them out. I look like a completely different archer. I dare say I almost look like I know what I'm doing. And I can't be the only one that's noticed, like, well, hang on, I followed through like that. I look pretty decent. If you want some actual knowledge, go to Jake Kaminsky. He's restarted his channel. He's doing a lot of form videos right now. He's someone you actually should listen to, but I'm someone who's a work in progress. So that's I've lost track of what I was talking about there, but that's that was Kaliran's comment there. Okay. By the way, I do have an agenda. By the way, it's Jack Kaminsky. I noticed you were there. Yeah, I gave you a shout out. Everyone realized you were here. Now, watch Jake Kaminsky just because he's been doing a lot more of his channel recently. I want to get Jake on board to one of these live streams at some point in the future. We're pretty flexible, so we'll make it happen. But I know he's such a funny guy because he made like the best tuning videos like 3 years ago. He's gone quiet, and now suddenly, bing, he's making all these all these coaching videos. So definitely check out Jake Kaminsky's channel. I'm glad he's here. We can definitely get some input from Jake as well. So Jake is the expert advice. He's the actual expert here. I'm just to poke fun at people and kind of comment on their bow color schemes. But we'll see how we go. And perhaps Jake can help out with some of the commentary as well. And in the future, definitely next year, we'll get Jake on board for one of these live streams. So that was the discussion on KSL. By the way, Jake was coached by KSL to a very high level of success. So we can definitely confirm that this stuff works. Like, this is some huge snake oil, actually works a lot. It's one of those biggest turnarounds. Actually, honestly, what I want to do is to become one of the examples of people who've been transformed through Coach Lee's method. When Coach Lee showed us a lot of the videos, the case studies, he showed us Brady Ellison, he showed us Ojin Heck, he showed us a lot of people who struggled through a lot of form problems, and how with a few changes, a few days of training case, they've completely solved their shoulder problems and solved their target panic. And a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever, that's kind of like hoodoo, but I've done it for like 3 days, and look the way I shoot now. It looks semi-decent. Who knows? Anyway, we have it's been a great chat. So this is our final stream for the year. It's December 31st here. So we're gonna have a bit of fun. This is a form check video, but feel free to throw any question in. We'll be here to watch and check things out. And by the way, shout out to Swift Vandenberg from Triple Trouble. He reached 10,000 subscribers on his channel the other day, and he live streamed as well. So there's a few of us Olympic recurve shooters who are doing big channel stuff now, which is actually really, really good. We have a pretty good resurgence in archery across all forms, modern and traditional. So really happy to see people interested in that. Let's see. So Niffelwind 86. Greetings from Germany. In your last KSL video, you talked about your tab and you might auto change it. What tab are you shooting right now, and what's the problem with it? If you're referring to my day 3 recap, because I haven't done a KSL video yet. One thing we talked about with the tabs, actually I got it right here. So now Coach Lee couldn't specifically name which tab he's talking about, obviously for conflict of interest and other reasons. But when he mentioned a certain Korean brand, which has a certain thumb rest, Shring. This is the one I was using. I'm like, whoops, guilty as charged. I really like this tab, but I see what happened there. So the thing which was happening with the finger tab is that there are a couple of things with finger tab which Coach Lee really emphasize. One of them is to make sure you have a good finger space that is correctly set up. So what you want to achieve with the finger tab is you want the fingers to be parallel. So you're meant to squeeze the finger spacer. What a lot of people do is they actually go around the finger spacer. So I need a bow. Give me 2 seconds, a spare bow lying around somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, this is what every archer does, right? You got like bows lying around. Yeah. Alright. So, alright, see you, Jake. Nice to jump in, and we'll see you next time. So, the point with the finger tab is when people you hook the string. What tends to happen? Hope you can see this right. There we go. So, what it's meant to look like is this. Okay, there's a bit of finesse to it in terms of exact case or method. For example, like if you're looking at it from your point of view, you should be able to see my fingernails on the top of your fingers. Okay, so the correct grip, you actually can't see the top of the fingernails, but you can see the bottom fingernail. That's one thing. The other thing is the fingers are meant to be parallel. Okay, so what people do is that they actually squeeze around the tab, so the top finger often curves downwards. All right, and you see that's the wrong grip. So one thing you're meant to do is you squeeze the finger tab with the fingers, so you don't feel that. All right, so that's one key thing. Now, if your finger tabs finger spacer isn't correctly set, it might be too far, too close, or the wrong size. You will need to modify that. This one worked okay for me, but the thing that this tab has is it had a ledge. Now I removed my ledge after the course, but by default the tab is set up with a thumb rest low. You can put it high or you can put it low. This is one of those tabs where it used to have a low ledge, and what you end up doing is you put your thumb on that ledge, so it looks like that. Okay, so before you set it up, back when I had the ledge on, the tab used to have a ledge here. So what happened with this method is that it keeps the hand fairly straight, which is a good thing to have in a hook and a draw. You want a flat back, and that helps with that. But what it didn't help with is having a good anchor point, because you tend to pivot on this anchor point. So what Coach recommended is get rid of all the rest of here, get rid of the ledges. You want as much contact, so you end up have a V shape like this, and you kind of have a very deep contact over here. Anything with a ledge or thumb rest interferes with your placement of your anchor point, and this is paramount in the shot process. So if you don't have this right, okay, if you don't have this right, and your thumb's placed in the wrong position, then that's a bad thing. Funny enough, you also mentioned the Russian draw. The Russians actually do this. They used to anyway. Ukrainians, Russians used to draw long and have the thumb wrap around the neck, and that's the same sort of thing for really strong, consistent contact. You need a lot of flexibility to do so. It's not really taught anymore, but you want strong contact with your jaw, and having this thumb rest kind of got in the way. So I dropped that. So I stopped using the rest, and I figured I may as well change my finger tab, because I've got a spare one. I have the Win Easy. I had the Easy R, but not the I haven't reviewed the Easy yet, so I just decided to unbox that. I bought it 3 years ago, didn't use it. It's actually the perfect tab for what I need it for, so that was absolutely perfect. So that's what I meant by changing the finger tab. So that was a good question there. Good stuff there. Rust bucket. According to my coach, my release looks like I'm opening my hand and the follow through is static. Yeah, okay, so, thank you, Coach Lee, for the advice here. So I'm basically echoing what Coach Lee taught us. Everything you asked, Coach Lee explained. So, a good release is going to follow straight back, and what will happen is that the fingers should look exactly the same as they do when you initially anchor, okay? So if you anchor like this and you release, it should actually look the same. If you open up that's not a clean release. That's plucking the string. I'm actually going to do a video about this very shortly, but I'll explain what I'm doing in that video. This is what Coach Lee taught us. So this is a little training exercise you can do. I recommend you don't do this on concrete because you're going to use your phone. Okay, so your phone is going to form part of your release cycle. So the idea, let's get the bow. All right, who has some cojones here, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a bow or a stretching band or whatever. You're going to hold your phone in your fingers, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to hook the string. All right, I'm not going to dry fire this, but basically what you do is when you release, your phone should not drop in your fingers. Okay, this is what I mean by your fingers shouldn't change position on the release. When you anchor, when you hook and draw, all right, that's kind of what you want. I'm not anchoring full draw, obviously, and I'm stretching band in here right now, but doesn't matter. The idea is when you release, your fingers don't move, so you maintain the same finger position on the release as what you had before. So hence the phone. What he actually did was, I was sitting in the front row, he grabbed my phone and he did it. He did a full draw on his practice bow, he released, and the phone just stayed there. Now of course we were like, ugh. I was like, my intensity was a little high there, but that's what a good release looks like, is your fingers stay in the same position as the word anchor. When you expand and release, they come out in the same position. If they expand and open up, then that's an active release, and you are inducing lateral movement on the string, hence plucking the string. That's what a good shot looks like. I'll cover this in a different video. That's one of my upcoming videos, but I haven't done it yet, so we'll get there. Okay, so we are going to go to some form checks, because that's why we're here in the first place. But keep on asking questions, by the way. We'll be happy to discuss that in a moment. But we've got a few people in chat who are sent in form checks, and I'm going to go through some form checks. I can't remember where some of these came from. These have been quite old and come from a few months ago, but I don't really remember. So first one, super honest, since you're here right now, we do yours right now. This is your most recent one you sent today. That is literally today. And I was confused because like a lot of people sent me in like form check videos using the Realwiz ATF. And I'm like, so wait, which one's which? Because a lot of people sent me stuff, but apparently Super Honest sent me like 5 videos and didn't check a single one of them. So I'm going to check his latest video. Yeah, social engineering, absolutely. It was quite a scary moment because we were talking about like heart rate and intensity, and he grabbed my phone and he just did a full release with my phone in his fingers, and he was like, "So David, what do you think?" I'm like, "Coach, my intensity is very high right now." Well, what a great coach, you know. He does all these like magic tricks and stunts to show you what good technique looks like. So I'll share more of those in my recap. All right. So there's a question there. How do you ignore Newton's first law? This is actually mentioned in KSL. The Newtonian laws are an integral part of the shot process. You don't ignore it, but you have to recognize what it means in the shot process. Newton's first law, which is the law of inertia, refers to the draw cycle. Okay, so draw cycle is the second law. That's acceleration. The law of inertia is about the setup process, set and setup. We'll talk about that at a different time, but you don't ignore it. You just understand which part of the process comes in. All right, let's go to Super Honest. So, Super Honest, you are now live on screen. We're going to see a little nice editing, by the way. Getting fancy on me. We had some fun today, guys. All right, let's see. Nice sight, by the way. I like the color. Okay, so now that you've seen my basically professional training, can I be super harsh on you? I actually saw a bit of it before, so I kind of know what to look for, but we'll watch this a few times. This is a great shot sequence. You can see the angle, which we mentioned a few things just before. Okay, now an important thing to note is that you can still shoot fine with the current process, but what we're trying to do is to help you shoot more consistently with less effort. Okay, so there are a few things which, now that I've been through basically, I know what I'm looking for now. a bit of a shame that Jake's in here. Will point more things out for us too, but hopefully we'll be back later on. So the general form is good. Okay. And obviously, not sure what distance target is. Super Rise, if you're in chat right now, tell me what distance is. Looks like, what, 30 meters? So it looks alright. Now, as a general note, ooh, that's a painful shot. As a general note, one thing with short distance targets is that short distance tends to be more active aiming. So you can get away with bad shot process, but if you aim correctly, you still hit the target. So if you're good enough, you're fine. Long distance, these things will start to be really punishing, and you can probably see in chat right now, you can probably see some of the things I mentioned just before, especially about release. Okay, so this is, again, thank you for the footage. This is an excellent training footage, and we'll see and analyze a few things. So that's the edited versions. It's unedited. I'm not worried about this right now, but we can go and see a few issues. So let me keep the thing in full screen, and I'm gonna just check chat. Let's see what chat thinks. Okay, what are some things you observe? I'm gonna have to do a drink break. 20 meters, thank you. 20 meters is a short distance. With 20 meters is very much active aiming. So what Coach Lee mentioned is that the way you shoot a short distance for indoor distances, 18 to 25 meters, is actually different to your long distance target. So if long distance is about process, repeating process means that you will gravitate towards the middle. Whereas in short distance, especially at spot targets, you need to watch your alignment a lot more carefully. You actually can be actively aiming with the sight rather than passively putting it on target. So short distance form can be quite deceptive. So chat has identified a few things already. Let me just get a drink. All right. Social engineering. This is exactly what people have issues with when talking about different form or different method, like basically. Most people can shoot excellently with their current form. That's why my job isn't to tell you change everything. Push-pull and the classical training cycles can work. That's why people resist change. If people can do it fine, I can do it fine too. It works until it doesn't. And that's the message trying to get across here, is that at some point you'll start breaking down. Either your shoulders give up, your mental game gives up, and so on. So there are issues with consistency rather than effectiveness. You can be effective with releases like you saw before. So I'm not saying you can't shoot well with any draw cycle, any method, but some methods, and this is KSL's line, some methods are more biomechanical and more efficient than others, which means more consistency for less effort, which is what we talk about here. So let's go through super honest cycle. All right, a few people have already caught out a few things. One immediate thing, which we saw especially in the back, is elbow alignment. Boom. All right, this is perfect. Okay, so the elbow is too far on the outside. Okay, so ideally what you want is the elbow should be in line with the arrow. So if super honest could move his elbow back about 2 inches behind, even more than that, that's his full draw. Yep, okay. So the reason why, super honest, I know you're here, the reason why you might be struggling to get the full draw and expansion, you can see, oh man, you can probably see that pixel there, right? You can see in this shot the strain it takes to get that shot off. Ouch! 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 Whoops! Oh man, you can feel that, man. You can feel the strain. That's what I used to do. This is what Kisley changed my life, right? Yep. So your shoulders are collapsing all the time. Oh, you can feel that. You're getting there. Okay. So this is what you practice. If you have a stretching band, practice it right now. Honest. Okay. So what you've got is, because it's not quite a chicken wing, but your elbow is out of line. Okay. So by being out of line, this is basically, I'm your target there. You're that far out. All right, that means all the strain is not on your back. It is bing, bing, on your shoulders. All right. Not only is it super hard, and you can see yourself clicker, clicker, clicker. Okay, it will damage your shoulders. That's what I've been that's what makes sense to me. You're putting so much strain on these shoulders. This is going to cack it, all right? That's going to cack it too. So that is not going to work for you in the long run. You're forcing yourself, you're using your muscles rather than your bone structure. So what you want to do is get the drawing elbow further back. Now, how you get there, it's up to you. KSL teaches the different setup cycles. So you set up, and then you draw. You load first, then you come to your anchor point. You can come high if you want to. The main thing is shoulder, elbow. Get it behind the arrow. I don't have an arrow here. No, you know what I'm talking about, okay? But because you are about 2 inches too far, sorry, camera this way, 2 inches too far this way, you have no back tension, you have no alignment. You want to have bone on bone. So from your hand, through your arm, elbow, through your shoulder, through your scapula, you want that alignment. If you try it right now, you get this alignment in, it's going to feel so much better to draw here, to here, and bang. That's called the barrel of the gun in the KSL cycle, when your scap and your shoulders are locked in place first. So you set up, draw, anchor. Okay, you can see if I'm drawing a line straight to your target, my elbow is behind the line. What you're doing is you're drawing from here to here, elbow sticking out. You will see the difference right away. This is the one thing. The one thing I teach people, sorry camera, when people ask about what I've learned and how to draw correctly, even this one tip, just the elbow. We tried it with Turkish archers at nu.sensei.archery. We've tried it with longbow shooters. We've tried it with barebow shooters. Every single person who learnt this completely changed their form. It will add an inch to your draw length, by the way. So having about an inch or 2 inches off this way means you're actually drawing short. So by having this longer, you will add an inch approximately. I bought new arrows for this, crying out loud. So that's a good reason why you're struggling through your clicker. That's going to be the main improvement you will probably work on in the next day or two. Okay, that will change your life. Coach really called these $1,000 tips because you can win $1,000 with this. I'm serious. It is that simple. All right, so that was the first and the main issue which people identified, and that is absolutely correct there. Okay, so let's see it one more time. All right, let's see it one more time. The whole draw cycle. Let's see how it works. All right, that's the first shot. You can see there's a lot of struggle there. You're really feeling it. All right, so let's see how we go. All right, so we go back a few seconds. Let's start from here. All right, so this is classic push-pull. You draw straight to your anchor and your elbow's not in line yet. Okay, so if you want to do if you want to do KSL, again, don't force. If you're being coached not to do it, then listen to your coach. But what I'm trying to tell you is elbow needs to be back further. Okay, if you should draw first, then anchor, and the elbow will come to position. That two-step draw is going to get you much further than this. That's what I recommend heavily as a coach now. You can see the shoulders aren't aligned. It's all in the shoulder muscles here in the drawing arm, as well as the front shoulder. Okay, there's not enough alignment. The back tension's in there, so you've lost it, and that means you can't get through the clicker. That is a painful draw. If you spend, you're probably like tied after like 20 shots. That's how painful it is. So that's one thing. The second thing is release. We just mentioned release before. You can see that agonizing there. All right, that you can see that's the classic string pluck right there. All right, that's what's called a cosmetic release. So it's basically a follow through which is completely excessive. So we mentioned just before, your release should not be that dynamic. Okay, so you've got the whole hand open. It gets behind your head. That doesn't indicate a good release. Okay, so the release and follow through should mean that you just come straight back. All right, now some archers will shoot very well like that. They'll come all the way back here. That's a cosmetic thing. It doesn't affect the shot at all. But what you're doing is you're basically rotating your hand and you're coming out like that. There's no way you can do this motion and have a clean release, right? Think about that. You go from here to here. That's a rotation of the draw of the hand. That means that whatever motion you did to get there, you did beforehand, which means you were torquing the string. That means you were coming out this way. That means you're probably flicking your arrows to the right, which I believe you are. with seeing a new target, right? So that's going to induce lateral movement. That's going to go whoosh. That's not a good follow through. Okay, so what you want is, okay, when you expand, front arm goes forward, rear arm goes back. Okay, that motion and release. That's it. That's all you need to do. Anchor point, expand, follow through, and your fingers just basically do that. Okay, there's no active motion. If you go like that or like that, that's obviously going to affect your shot. So that's the. I mean, we might stack too much advice here, but those are the two things: is that elbow line's got to go back another few inches. The release to relax a bit more. Okay, there could be other things. Do we really want to pick more? There's, I think the front shoulder. That seems okay, but in this angle, that front shoulder looks unusually high. Okay, so I mean, I don't want to change too much here, but otherwise, street alarm looks good. Anchor point looks okay. Looks a little hunched here. I reckon you could drop the shoulder just a bit. Again, if you have a good setup position, you might find that the shoulder will drop down by itself. But the main two things would be elbow alignment, as we saw over here. Elbow alignment is going to be the king for you. And relax the release. Okay, the release should not be a pluck. Don't try to flick the string off your fingers. Let it come off. I think that will address the primary problem you might have at the moment. Okay, oof, man, you will wreck your shoulders at some point. So hopefully by doing that, sorry, my thing was off there. But if you look at this scene again, this is the one thing we'll showcase there, and that's the elbow alignment there. You can really see the amount of effort you put in. Don't shoot through the pain. All right, archery shouldn't be painful. If you're feeling pain, you're doing it wrong. Yep, you're right. If you fix your alignment, the release will become better. Absolutely. People release like this because of the elbow alignment. You have to come around a bit further, and you go like that. That's plucking the string. So you'll see that problem fix it very, 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 very quickly. Practice that. Works for me. I assure you, it works for me. It'll work for you too. Okay. Ran out of tape. Damn. Oh well, don't waste that. Okay. Next one. So that's super honest. There are a few people who aren't in chat right now, but we'll go through some different videos. Some of these I've had for a while. I can't remember who sent me this. Now look at this one. I don't know who sent me this, but we'll watch it anyway. Okay, so let's have a look. Well, I'll say it right away. A few problems. All right. I'm not gonna call it right away. Chat, you're watching this too, right? So let's play a game. All right. Chat, you identify what's wrong. I want to point out, by the way, a lot of people love being armchair coach. I encourage that. For this video series, I encourage you to look at form and analyze it yourself. Be warned though, okay? Being an armchair coach, even in my position, doesn't mean you're right. A lot of people will identify physically what is wrong and miss out on the mental process. We call it the software in Coach Lee's term. So when people tell me what I'm doing wrong or tell other people they're doing wrong, it doesn't help fix the problem, because you need to appreciate why it's wrong first. So we'll watch the video, we'll give you a chance to analyze this, and then we'll have some commentary too. Ooh, good angle. And the chat comment, if you sent me this video, this is a really good video to analyze. Okay, I'll stop it there. All right, so I think the guy was the one who wanted to get the form check. We could do both shooters. So what do we think, chat? What can we comment on in this form check? I'm not wearing nu.sensei merch. Hang on. Yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am. There we go. Okay. But they're not wearing merch. That's true. Okay. What do you think? I think Morton's kind of ticking the boxes here, right? It is the multiple choice test. Morton tick everything. Okay, let's have a look. So, is it a sky draw? Not really. Not really the problem. Okay, so right away, first image. All right. Leaning backwards. All right, high shoulder, yes, but main problem is posture. So posture is completely off here. So you should be straight. You should be standing straight. His legs are here. Should be straight up. Now, Jake Kaminsky in his recent video talked about when the center should be. It's actually a little bit further out in his case, but that's not the point here. Right now, it's got to be his posture is shooting what? 5 meters away. Whoops. I mean, he's only that far away. It's only what? 5-meter target, right? So there's no reason why it's going to be leaning back. So what he may be doing is, because he's shooting so short, to compensate for the alignment and the lower height of the target, he's leaning backwards rather than leaning forward. So you should be bending forward and then pivoting on your hips to get the target alignment. But that is off, okay? That's going to put a lot of strain on that shoulder there, that I call shoulder pain. And that's going to make it very hard to align correctly and power through with back tension. So that is way too much of a lean back. So you've got to lean forward. I mean, leaning forward is something people do instinctively to counteract the bow. So what? Actually, Jake is so good right now. Jake, if you're here or you're finished making breakfast, got to give credit to your recent video. This is exactly what I talk about. So the reason why this happens, okay? So he starts up fine. So this is it. The hunch is okay, the back's a problem later on, but you can see when he's not pulling the bow back, he stands straight. So it has a natural good position. What people do is that because you've got the mass of the bow in the front, when you pull it back, your brain tells you to counteract the weight in the front. So you lean backwards. That's what's causing this problem. Okay, so at the point between the setup and the draw, you can see he leans backwards, he arches it back. That's gonna be a lot more evident in the rear view. Firstly, elbow position. Not bad. That's not bad. I mean, it's probably slightly out of line, but his elbow is not that bad. Okay, it's not optimal, but it's not bad either. So his elbow's okay. Release is not that bad, not too flamboyant, but you'll see a bigger problem in his back. Both arches have this problem. This is the arching back, all right? That's a very, very big arch back. Coach Lee calls it a hollow back. You can see that both spines are severely curved. All right, this is not bad, by the way, because you do in fact want the this particular line of the arrow and the bow away from your center line here. But what it's got here is a very pronounced lean, and he has the arch back. Oh, that is me shooting like 3 weeks ago. That is an awful arch back. So what he should be doing is clench his butt cheeks. Damn, I'm demonetized now. But clench the butt cheeks together, put that bum in, tense this core muscle, drop the chest. Okay, a lot of this comes down to stance as well, but posture and stance are different things. But his posture needs to change pretty badly. That is a very unstable form. That center of mass is completely off center, and that is, it's not going to cause back problems, but it's going to cause a lot of back tension issues and stability. And yeah, he's not that far off center, but that back is one of the typical problems of the styles using. So he needs to change his posture. Same as her. Now she has a worse draw. Now one of the issues with this draw is that you don't want too many variables in your draw cycle. You want to have consistent process. So I'm gonna flick back to me in a moment here. What you want to do is you want to have consistent process. By the way, super honest, if you want to buy a stretching band, buy the Kesikli Gold. That is what he used to train Kesikli cycle, KSL Gold. I've got a video about this already, by the way. Look for a video on the KSL Gold stretching band or shot trainer. It's a rubber band with a stopper, which means you can actually stop them. Benjamin, you missed out on my commentary. Jacob's just here. It's the best right now, so the timing of it is absolutely amazing. When you watch, sorry, let me finish this form check. I'll go back to Jake Kaminsky in a moment if he's already back. He was in chat just before, but it's good so far. So where was I? Stuff. All right, process. What you want, by the way, Kesikli Gold shot trainer 2 is you want to repeat the same process. Okay, so that's why Kesikli pushes work on process. Process is king. Okay, if you don't break down your process, you do not understand what you are doing. A lot of people shoot with the empty mindset where it's like, don't think of anything. Actually, subconscious means focus on one thing. So you should be consciously going through the steps. If you don't go through the steps, you'll do it wrong each time. So that's why his process is, you have your set position, you have your setup position, then your draw, then anchor, then transfer, then expand and follow through. You go through this process. Yes, the KSL Gold Elite Trainer. Gold Elite is the one you want, not Gold. Actually, the same thing. There's a KSL, whatever, Gold Elite. That's what it's called. Yeah, you want to go through each of these steps with a stretching band, KSL Gold. But any stretching band will work, okay? But his one has a special stopper, which has a max draw. You don't exceed your draw length for a reason. It's muscle memory. But regardless of what you use, follow a process. If you don't use KSL, use any process, just follow the process. Okay, follow the process. That's why if you have a different process, look at that. In competition, you might follow a different conscious cycle, but you need to have a cycle where each step is done to perfection. You shoot by numbers. So what the girl is doing in this case, she goes through a very dynamic cycle where she isn't settled on target at all. Okay, so she just comes up, does whatever, pulls it back. There is no consistency in this. I'm being harsh right now to know who she is, but I'm being very harsh as a coach because that's going to be a huge barrier. Okay, so that's the guy. You can see some issues there. The back's will be top of the back already, but for our lady here, what is going on there? Okay, that is not a proper draw. All right, I mean, in some ways it is. Oh no. Elbow, yes, you can see elbow's not in line, so it's going to be inefficient draw, mostly in the shoulders, and the back is compensating for that. So it's problem on problem. That's a collapse release too. So there's no back tension. It's a very light bow, I imagine. There's no back tension. It's a collapse release. You can see she plucked the string right there. Okay, but the draw, there's no process in this. Now she might be very new. I imagine they are. So, but that is, I want to say illegal draw. It's actually technically okay, I guess, but that is not consolidated. The guy's draw is okay. You can see he actually keeps the bell on target first, but in her case, I mean, if you're doing KSL, it's normal to have the bow slightly pointed off and you draw back and then you anchor, but there's no draw here. That is an erratic shot process. You can see that she has no awareness of the target until after she pulls it back. Alright, and that's too much movement there. That's gonna be a very bad shot process. You can see the arch back, leaning back here, arch back, shoulders, basically, oh, it hurts to watch this. You can see that force line is coming up that shoulder. Oh, that's gotta hurt. I can feel that hurting right now. That's gotta hurt. And then you come through here, and people power through this. They shoot through the pain, and it actually causes so many long-term problems. So you can see it's too low. It should be standing straight, and if it has to aim a low target, it should be leaning forward. But the shoulder should be up. So you can see that line. If you draw a line through his hand, the grip through his shoulder, it's completely off the charts. Okay, that should be. This elbow should be pointed towards the grip on a good draw. That elbow is pointed towards, well, way below. So he's way off. The line was completely off there. Ouch! That just hurts to watch. I'm thinking shooting badly, but it just hurts to watch. Yeah, I think she's much newer, but that's very much a collapse process. So her front arm collapses inwards, and the back arm collapses too. You can see that motion is collapse. But it's a very light bow. You can see the arrow bounce off. It's a very light bow. But that's a very much a collapse shot there. So there's no expansion or back tension there. That draw, it's not unsafe, but it doesn't look good. Both of them have this problem too. Okay, what they're doing is they're drawing high. Yeah, that's also a bad thing. So they're drawing high, and it comes too low, and he adjusts, he moves upwards. That is lost tension line right there. You can't draw, then come below the target, then back up. You've got to draw on target. So by the time you get the full draw, it should be on target already. The sight only goes very slightly down, then you're in. You don't go down here, then up again. That's going to reverse the direction of force. This is Newton's laws again, right? This is acceleration. If you decelerate this way, go back up this way, then you're going to cause a lot of... it's going to be absolutely painful to watch. And same with her too, unfortunately. So we'll see the same sort of thing there. She draws, comes too low and back up there. That's, you've lost the draw cycle. You've got to keep the sight, just the movement's very minimal. You just come across and down and you're on target. You don't have to go down and back up. So there are a multitude of issues over here. Oh yeah. And this is no way you can get back tension with that motion, because if you reverse the direction, there's like 3 different motions. All right, so you swung this way, then you've come back down, then you've gone up. That's way too exaggerate. Elbow is about half a meter out. So there'll be some issues there. Anyway, we're being too hard on these guys. I guess they're fairly new, but there are a lot of issues here. Posture is the main one, and the draw cycle needs to be addressed as well. Whoa, man, that was a pretty heavy one. Ouch. Yeah, it can't be too harsh there. Alright, what are people talking about here? Same exact. Trap bows, look, depends on what you're on the trap bow. Like, yeah, depends on what you want. Any trap bow can be good, depends on what you do with it. I mean, you would spend like the cheapest possible one, get a Samick Sage, anything like it. Or get a Mandarin Duck. If you want a high-end one, get a high-end one. But I don't recommend any particular ones, because it depends on what you want, not what I want. Alright, let's get to our next one, while we're having a break here. Alright, this is from Valentine, or Miko Archer. He's been on the channel quite a few times actually, so he's got his own channel, which is quite popular, and he's posted a few times. So let's see what he's just picked up. Bear, I think he shoots trad, and now he's picked up bear bow. So let's have a look at how he shoots. Let's see the whole shot cycle. That's alright. This looks fine actually. It's got a solid anchor point there. It's got these string walking reference. It's doing alright. That's actually pretty good. I mean, I couldn't nitpick things at the release, but it works. This is functional. This works completely fine. I wouldn't really address this. I mean, he's an experienced archer. I know he is. So I think Valentine is fine. Yeah, he's fine. This is clean. Yeah, this will win championships. He's got the right form there. L looks good. Nah, he's fine. He's fine. Next. that's the compared to what we did before with these guys. This is like the shortest possible form check. Let's go to our next one, Uraj. Okay, this is interesting. I love the quiver. Stick the back to your pants. Alright, let's have a look at this one. Okay, there's more. I think I see something. So, for the most part, he seems alright. So, well, I'm also just cut straight to the chase here. Let's watch on my angle. But there's one thing that Uraj can probably improve on. Ooh. It's an interesting hip shift there. This angle showed that. Okay. That's a good video. It's got a lot of nice angles to it. And there's a back view too. Oh wow. That's pretty neat. This is comprehensive. Okay. Got middle finger to anchor point. That's fine. That works. Anchor point works fine. Alright, and the back view. We've been doing a lot of back view shots recently. Let's see if you see the elbow. That's what's one thing we'll watch. I doubt the elbow come back. It comes back. All right. He achieved it. That's a bit cynical. Okay. So while we're here, let's talk about classic push-pull. So this is what people have learned archery as for like hundreds of years. All right, the shoulder move, the back movement you see is classic push and pull, and you'll see the shoulder blades come together. That is classic archery style. That's not what Kisikli teaches. He teaches a different method where the rear scapula does the work, not the shoulder blades come together. Now, I don't want to change it completely. This is what people have learned, and it's what natural most of the time. So this is, you can just see the back muscles here. So people used to teach you could hold like a pencil between your shoulder blades. That's the classical way of shooting push and pull. And the reason why this is a hallmark is the way he draws is push and pull. So when we look at his draw cycle, he starts high, he comes over and down. So he's constantly pulling. This is a linear draw. Now, this shot particularly, or the first few shots, we see a consistent problem here. One of the issues with push and pull is that it's very hard to maintain back tension. Because back tension is basically you fighting the bow. So it's not in the bone structure, it's in the muscles. So I don't want to change his entire shot cycle, and that's what I'm here for. I to identify that's classic push and pull. People can shoot fine push and pull. They're just a bit more physically taxing and a bit more consistent. But that's typical push and pull. He executes push and pull fine. The one thing I'll probably address and just highlight is the back tension isn't very strong. So if he's in, he's touched his anchor, but the shot is driven by the hands, not by the shoulders. Okay, That's very much a hand-based coordination rather than a proper expansion. So the expansion step is still lacking. Comes full draw, I don't really see an expansion. So that's a kind of a dishonest follow through. It's not a bad shot, by the way. The shot's fine, but we're seeing lack of back tension. All right, so it's not firmly anchored. We're not giving ourselves time to go through and check our steps. So there should be a step here where before you release, Kissley calls it transfer, where you take the time to let your subconscious take over. Instead of drawing all the way through and releasing once you get the full draw, you need to hold. That's one of the steps people don't do, is holding. Hold on the shot and let your mind settle before you release. Because if you don't, that means you don't expand correctly. You'll see the hand come out off to the side there. You need to give yourself about 3 seconds of focus. So at full draw, hold and focus. Let's see more of the process here. You can see it's a very quick shot process because of short range, there's no target, there's no chance of missing. But we're not seeing a strong mental process, which means back tension will break down, release will break down as well. The anchor point is good, but at this point, there's no real thought behind the shot process itself. We're just kind of chucking arrows. So we're doing physical training, but not mental training. So even at this distance, even like 1 meter away, you should be able to hold, focus on the expand, and then release. In fact, if we call that KSL method, all right, we call the step, it should be set up, draw, anchor, transfer, and expand, follow through. That's the tempo we're trying to follow. You can see he's gone through and rushed the process. So while his technique isn't wrong, it's not bad, what we do see is that he is mentally going to struggle. If not now, then at some point later on, with more shooting, he will mentally struggle the shot process because he can't make it work. It won't be seen at short distance, but the moment there's a target or a spot or shooting more than 1 meter away, the lack of a mental process and an opportunity for the mind to settle is going to cause problems in the long run. And some of the shots are quite good, but what I would like to see as a coach is a bit more of that mental process, to be conscious of the steps we are following. This last section is pretty good for some reason. Oh, what's this? Yeah, it's a light bow, I guess, so it controls it fine, but I'm not worried about this one. But mostly, let's see the first few shots again. We've got to see more of a mental process. At the moment, it's draw, anchor, release. It needs to be a bit more there, just a bit more, to show that you have full control and intent to shoot at the target, and not just letting go once you reach full draw. That's one of the things I've seen a lot of people shooting trade, especially. They just come to full draw and let go. You need to actually think about what you're doing. You need to go through the steps, and that's one of the things which is going to solve problems. Is if you have a mental process, then you are going to do much better for yourself. Alright, that's our official list of videos. I think that's all I got the last few months, but that's one of our better streams, I think. We'll take some questions now, and then we'll sign off. It's been an hour and an hour plus. Let's go through our chat questions, and then feel free to fire more questions at me. So Benjamin S, I said before, Jake Kaminsky is doing really well with his recent videos. So it's great. What I like about Jake and his videos right now is that we explain the shot process. It's actually not that good an idea to copy professionals unless you know what they're doing and why. Don't just copy the physical form. When Casey Lee taught me, he explained it as software and hardware. If you only watch the physical process, you only have hardware. You need the drivers. Okay, that makes sense to you. You need to install the drivers to understand how to make the physical process work. So watching someone like Jake or Brady and copying them won't get you very far because you don't have the understanding of what they're doing and why. Whereas what Jake's doing right now is he's talking through the shot process. It's not the same as learning it yourself, but at least it's an explanation. You need to try it yourself to make it work and understand that you're doing it right and why it's right. But at the moment, what he's doing is what the archery community needs right now. We need more people with the training, the skills, and the experience to be producing videos like what Jake is doing at a professional level. He'll get better at it. He'll expand his business. He'll expand his coaching reach. But what he's doing is it's lacking. Okay, apart from Triple Trouble, Swift, Vanderberg and friends. Apart from Swift, there's nobody else who is a competitive, professional, or successful competitive archer. There are coaches doing this, a few. There's me, but I'm not a competitive shooter. I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional coach. We need more people using YouTube as a platform to share and teach those skills. And Jack is doing something, is doing a major service to the archery community. That's, I started my channel because there wasn't enough out there for Olympic archery. So I wasn't the best person, but I was a person in the right place to help out. So I'm there to get you started. But there aren't enough people who are doing it at the top level who are coming back down to this level. There might be coaching, there might be teaching in their own clubs and schools and so on, but YouTube is lacking that top level representation. That's a super important thing. That's why what Jake is doing, he did a few initially years ago, but now he's doing more regularly. That's what we need. And if you're not already subbed to Jake Kaminsky, sub to Jake. It is so important to get on board with what he's doing. It's an excellent resource, and it will complement what you've learnt as well, because he explains the shot process. So just do it. He explains it. Okay. What other questions do you have? Cool. I think we're basically done. With having the finger pointed forward induce injury? Not really. I've closed the video, by the way, but when people have the video, if it's hooked around the arrow, yes. If it's pointing forward, no. And that's not a great habit to get into, but it's actually not pointing the way, so that's actually completely fine. It's not a good habit, but it's not a bad one either, so that's actually okay. Yeah, go and shoot, honest. I think, like, once you get good feedback, you want to try it right away, go and try it right away. A personal favorite bow? I don't know. I have a soft spot for the Southwest Stingray. I just like the size and smoothness of the carbon phenolic limbs. It has a wooden traditional feel too, but that's been a favorite go-to bow for fun. To talk to me honest, film friendly comps. We don't have friendly comps. I mean, like, we're friendly, but we have no comps. Our club's too quiet. And I don't think it'll change. We have more and more people join the club now and doing more shoots. But in my opinion, filming is pretentious. Unless you're covering an event which should be covered, filming, like, if you set up a camera, like, nobody wants to be filmed. It's actually such a pain in the bum to film people. Like, some people want to be filmed, that's great, but most people don't want to be on camera. They don't want to be filmed. They do stupid things on camera. It's such a pain in the bum. I don't want to do it. That's why people say, why don't you film the target? Because that means two cameras. That means I need to synchronize the camera, and especially when there are people on the line, like, you just look like a dickhead because you're lugging all these, like, tripods and cameras around, and people don't want to do that, because that means people don't shoot with you. If you're filming, they don't want to be near you. if you film the camera, they want to hide their arrows. So it's look, my channel isn't a club. That's a line I draw. Like, if I was an official club channel, sure, we'll film events and put them on YouTube, but I'm not the club. And what I do is freelance. I'm a bit of a maverick and a rogue, but yeah, I don't have the endorsement of the club to film club events, so I'm not gonna do so. Yeah, well, and the main thing is we don't have enough comps. We don't have enough people who are shooting competitively to even make a scene out of it. Rani, I've been advised at the club to buy a middle riser, but holding the one felt uncomfortable heavy with my bow arm. Yeah. If you're holding a lot of mass in the front, but when you pull it back, it balances out. So, you actually want that mass. That mass is what helps keep the bow stable. The advice is right. Yeah, when you're drawing it, you're pushing it out, you're pulling it back, it's balanced. It's not going to be like, oh, it's so heavy. Even with stabilizers, it won't be that heavy. Most people starting out will feel like it's a bit of a weight on the front arm that takes a bit of time to get used to. But at full draw, you want this. It's actually very well balanced once everything is on. Otherwise, if you shoot a light wooden bow, what happens is if light traditional wooden bows, the bow basically tips upwards because the mass is moving backwards. It's pivoting on your front hand, so you're actually fighting to keep the bow down. With a heavier riser, it's going to sit more in the hand. It won't come back at you as much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, try as much as you can. I mean, it's been like super hot down here, so it's been uncomfortable. But when it's been cool in the evenings, I've been trying to do some shooting as well, some practice, because that's important. Full stop. All right, it is 2 a.m. right now, so I reckon I'll cut it off there. Getting a little sleepy. I've got some training to do tomorrow. Maybe some arrow cutting. Whoa, camera, hello. Maybe some arrow cutting because I got my new arrows. I just found out, by the way, that I kind of smashed some arrow tips. Um, I found out that my block target, like the center, was shot out because I've had it for like 6 years now, and I had my target against the brick wall, and the arrows went through. Right, so some arrows went through the soft center. I didn't think it was a problem until I looked at the arrow tips and the tips have been pushed in. So I've destroyed my last set of arrows. I still got like 4 remaining, plus 2 bare shaft, plus 3 more arrows to repair. So I've got a set remaining. But yeah, I think it's time to convert to my new arrows. I'm going back to Eastern ACEs. I chose not to go for X10s. I'm still not that good at deserve X10s. But yeah, I want to have to cut my new arrows because I want to use my clicker every game. People are saying, oh, you cups in the shot. Yes, I'm not using a clicker. People can say using a clicker. I'm not using a clicker in the training. One, it's actually good training to not use a clicker, but two, because I'm not using one, the expansion isn't fully solid and the clickers are going off, obviously. Um. Oh, Jason, you're welcome. Of course. Of course, Randy, happy to do your service. The big goal is get people out there and shoot. All right, so a lot of people will not have that confidence to go to a club and ask questions and get shooting. So the fact that you get out there and start shooting and join a club, that's sensational. Well done. How many years have you been doing archery? 8 years now. Not that long compared to most people. Any advice of training at 20 meters? Shooting a short distance. Sorry, get this off my head now. Uh, 20 meter shooting. All right. Is in training 20 meters or competing in 20 meters? Because I mentioned before that the way you shoot at close distance is going to be different to the way you shoot at long distance. The main thing at short distance depends, right? If you're training at 20 to shoot for 50 plus or 70 meters, then just shoot at a single target and just whatever, just go for process and form. If you're shooting 20 meters for the purpose of competing at 20 meters or short distance, it's going to be different. Okay, let me explain the difference first. So, if you're shooting for short distance competition, you have to be actively aiming. Okay, that's when the small target works well. because you will actively have to align each target or the sight with each target. So it's no longer passive align and let go. You must actually align, aim, and let go. Whereas if you're training for long distance shooting, it's about repetition of process. So that's why indoor is actually different to outdoor. Apart from distances and target sizes, the process actually is slightly different. So you are more active in aiming. That's why you gotta be careful what you're trying to do. That's why when people practice at long distance, like 70 meters, but they shoot at a short distance, they elevate the target so the sight's in the middle and they let go. They're not actually aiming at a target at 2 meters for a 70-meter target. They're just putting it out in, and in. Whereas if you're trained to compete a short distance, you've got to spot target, align, and then let go. So just recognize whether you are doing active aiming or passive aiming. Depends on whether you're competing short distance or long distance. The smaller your target, the more active you have to be. Morton mentioned the point about using a small target. I don't fully agree with the small target. Depends on what you're trying to achieve. Again, people who follow the mentality of aim small, miss small, you're training a different skill set. Okay, this isn't the wrong skill set, but you're training a different skill set. You are training active aiming. It isn't the same as long distance shooting. So if you're going to get a small target, you're more likely going for active aiming. Okay, so that's why there's nothing wrong shooting a big target at 20 meters if you're training for long distance shooting, but consistency and process is the key. Whereas if you're aiming for spot targets, then precision sighting is the key, not necessarily process. Technique is important, but process isn't as important. It's basically what compound does, basically. If you're shooting compound, you're actively aiming. You're not you're trying to align things with compound. You're not following process as much. Compound, there's a process, but you've got the line sight perfectly, and then you release. Same with like rifle or air rifle. It's about like aiming. So when we talked about with basically about active and passive aiming, if you're shooting like a rifle, for example, okay, so pistol is more process. It's more you follow a process for each thing. Whereas with rifle, you are actively aiming. You don't follow a process. You don't go through a whole shot cycle to hit a target. You need to make sure you align on target, have the sight, align front and rear sights are aligned, and then you control the shot. But it's an aiming thing. So close distance shooting with archery is more like rifle shooting, where you are actively aiming and aligning. Whereas long distance shooting is more like, say, pistol or shotgun, where you're going through a process in order to get the arrows on target. Oh, thank you, Azizul, by the way. You are most welcome. A large target will hide faults. I don't fully agree. Because I'm just trying to explain why I don't agree, right? Because if you're scoring, sure, like the score will hide a lot of problems, but you can see what happens on target. If you can grip tighter, then your process is good. Like I said, there's a difference between active aiming and passive aiming. If you're shooting small targets, as long as if you're shooting at different spots, then it's active aiming. Whereas if you're shooting at a single spot, it doesn't matter how big the target is. Single spot means you're following process. Doesn't matter how big the target size is. If you're scoring and getting a single standards, that's different. But the skill is different from both long distance and short distance target. Spot shooting is different from long distance target shooting. Hunting bow. Plastic arrow rest better than magnetic? Not necessarily. The best ones for bare bow are the wraparound rest, the ones which go around the bow, because it provides a. No, I can't explain why, to be honest. I'm not a bare bow shooter, but there is a preference for the wraparound rest. Plastic rest, not so much. It's the people will probably shoot like magnetic above plastic. But no, I haven't really heard plastic being better for bare bow necessarily. Henry, if it's pain in your left arm, it's form is part of it. Form is always a thing. Unless we can see you shoot, we can't identify a form. And if it's draw weight, you probably can't pull it back. All right, but if it's front arm, then it's probably a form problem. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little cramped up. It's a little hot, so getting cramped up. How's my trad journey so far? Which part of trad? Is my western trad or my eastern trad? You're talking about my Asiatic shooting and thumb draw. Going nicely. I don't really practice it as much, but I'm spending more time with people who do. And when you spend time with the right people who teach it and who are passionate about it, then you're more inspired to do it yourself. So the fact that I spent time with Ahmed and Maidan Archery has been very inspirational. Humus Chungus, 8 years, as I said before. Well, my bows and arrows used for trad archery. My favorite one's by KTB because it's the lightest and most flexible bow. But I started picking up Turkish archery, so I still have a few like top level bows. I still have the Mariner bow, which I haven't really used yet. But I'm definitely, so I need my arrows. So I just ordered a set of carbon arrows from Alibow. They're coming in soon, so once I get that set up and going, then I'll have something to use more frequently for my trad bows. I don't really kit out my bows, so my Western trad or my Asiatic trad, I don't really have a set to use properly. So if I want to consolidate my practice, I'll need to have proper arrows set up for each bow. So that's a work in progress. Yeah, exactly. Like rifle shooting, there is a process, but it isn't the same as an archery process. There is a process where you have to, settle your heart rate, settle your breathing, follow through with trigger control. But it's like 90% aim in the rifle. 10% is you. That 10% makes a difference, but it's 9% rifle. As long as you align that rifle correctly and you don't punch the trigger and everything's controlled, then you should be okay. People say, I've had this debate with people, there's a process in rifle shooting. I'm not saying there isn't a process, but it's different. It's different to an archery process where the whole thing is you. The bow is like very little of you. The process. It's actually mostly you. So you can get away with a bad process and still hit the target with a rifle. Maybe not precisely for score max points, but you still hit the target. But with archery, if you don't follow a process, you can't hit the target. It's broken down. How often will practice? As much as I can. Once a week was a minimum. But I'll try and do a bit more these days. But it's really, really warm in summer, so it's uncomfortable. How long can a bow arm elbow suffer? One thing to mention, Christian, is that it's actually not important to turn your elbow. The mistake people make is like you're told in classic push and pull, rotate your elbow like that, okay? That actually causes elbow strain. You don't have to do this. Basically, doesn't teach this. He doesn't teach you to rotate your elbow. That's classic push and pull, all right? And that's more injury prone. And if you're having injury problems with your elbow on your shoulder, consider changing, okay? You don't need to turn your elbow outwards to avoid the string. That's to do with posture and stance. So you don't need to do that for one, okay? If you're having pain here, stop what you're doing right now. That shouldn't be hurting, okay? If you're having trouble with the bow dropping properly, likely to do with this not being proper. Do I have a bow here? No, I've got no bow here. Yes, I do. No, I can't bother holding right now. What you want to do is make sure that when you hold your bow, assuming you're shooting freestyle recurve, if you're shooting a different bow, that's different, but if you're shooting Western recurve, Olympic recurve, knuckles are 45 degrees, pull the pinky backwards, okay, so that's the knuckles there, fingers relax, pull the pinky backwards, squeeze this. This is where you feel the bow, alright, you push down that way, okay, when you correctly expand, everything's set up there, sorry, I'm going to be back here, when you expand, bow arm moves forward, and when you release, it comes down like that, okay, bow arm forward, release, and that's how the bow drops properly. when you're expanding forwards, you are pushing. What's called the land two. There are two land twos. There's like you pull with this one over here. This muscle group. This muscle group controls the shot here. This muscle group controls the forward push. Okay, you're not pushing with your hand or your arm. You're pushing with your upper torso region. Okay, it's like someone pushes you. You push with your hand. You can't push in the back. You shove with your forearm like that. That's where you get the punch from. Okay, most martial arts teachers as well. But that's the reason why you have elbow problems. You're turning outwards to avoid the string. How do you do this, right? You turn your whole arm. That's gonna be erect. That'll be erect too. Whereas you keep the shoulder natural. Push forward here. Push forward there. You avoid the string completely. That will stop you from hitting your arm. They'll stop you from hurting your arm from straightening your elbow. If it hurts, you're doing it wrong. And we're going to do casual arrow making. I've already made my arrows. I haven't cut them down yet, but I've made my arrows already, so that's already done. Would have been on a live stream, but yeah, I can't be bothered. Just already did it. I'm probably going to use 4-inch shield. I haven't really thought about it. I don't really care at the moment. It'd be three Fletchers, but I've basically ordered 4-inch shields. At the moment, I don't really care too much because it depends what you're doing it for. I mean, parabolic shield. I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm at the point where I know the difference enough. £35 bow depends on the actual draw weight. Depends on the bow. So £35, yeah, about 600-ish, 700-ish, but depends on what your actual draw length is. Check draw charts, okay? Because your actual draw weight isn't the same as what it says on the limbs. And it depends on the actual shaft too, but check. Anyway, I'm getting tired now, by the way. It's like getting really late, 2:30. Getting a little sleepy, so that should be enough for today. That's the final live stream of this year. If you want to be featured in an upcoming video, then feel free to send in an email with a link to your video, either attach it or upload it somewhere and link it to me. So if you want to get a particular form check, whether it's traditional or Asiatic or modern, whatever, just send me videos. I'd be happy to include you. We all learn from each other, of course. And hopefully what you've learned here helps you no matter what you're doing. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll check in next time. There'll be more special guests coming up very soon. We'll be organizing more live streams, more special guests. I've got a few people lined up already, about 4 or 5 people. We're having a nice renaissance and resurgence of archery popularity, and next year's Olympic year, so we'll see a bigger resurgence in the next few months. But hopefully we can coordinate something together. I've got a lot of people lined up. Not going to spoil it who. Jake is already one of them, but hopefully we'll see that coming up very shortly. Thank you, everybody. Have a happy and safe new year wherever you are. And hopefully we'll see you all in 2020. See you next time, guys.